I'm calling 911. You're talking to me.
Alright, you got an ID on you, man?
Not giving you any idea.
If you don't identify yourself, you're under arrest, okay?
You're not police.
Yes, we are.
Yes,
We're
we are.
Albuquerque
No,
Police
you're
Department.
not. You're security.
You're under arrest, okay? That's not changing now.
For what?
Concealing identity, resisting officers, okay?
I didn't know you were police officers. How can I
I told you.
conceal?
That's your own fault. You didn't listen, okay? I can't help you with that.
When an officer forgets the Constitution and the fact that your basic rights exist, someone has to keep score. And that's what we do here on Dr. Audit. Today we're diving into a case out of Albuquerque, New Mexico that raises fundamental questions about the Fourth Amendment and the Americans with Disabilities Act. Former Albuquerque police officer Kenneth Skeens and a disabled man named Matthew McManus at a Target store. Now I should be clear, I'm not a practicing attorney. What I offer is informed legal analysis based on published case law and constitutional doctrine. The Albuquerque Police Department has been under federal scrutiny for years. The DOJ found what they called a culture of acceptance of excessive force in this department. So when Bodycam footage emerges from an encounter like this, we need to examine it through the lens of established legal standards. We're going to watch this together in real time. I haven't seen this footage before, and I want you right here with me as we apply the law to what unfolds. If you love watching officers get held accountable, hit that subscribe button and help us keep score.
Hey, sir, go ahead and take your money. Go ahead and grab all your money. Let's walk out, okay? Take your money out. Do you want to walk us to walk you out, or do you want to walk us out? Go ahead and put your money out, man. I'm going to move this back, okay? You're coming with us, okay?
You gotta go.
Gotcha. Take your money out.
to go.
You're coming with us now, okay?
I just was going
So go ahead and grab your money, sir. We'll be walking out, okay? Go ahead and pick your money out.
Can I please get this?
So we're going to grab your money out for you. Do you want to walk us to walk you out, or we're leaving, okay? You're going to be issued a criminal trespass, so you can't come back to the city, okay?
I was just getting my money out. I just was getting
So go ahead and grab your money, sir. We'll here's your money. Put it in your pouch.
Can I please?
Walk out, okay? And you're going to be identified, okay? You're not going to be issued a criminal trespass, so you can't come back to walk out, okay?
I'm calling
Okay, so right off the bat, I need you to understand what we're watching here. This man, Matthew McManus, is standing at a self-checkout holding cash in his hand. He's trying to complete a purchase, a lawful transaction. And Officer Skeens walks up and immediately starts directing him to leave. Now here's what the footage doesn't tell you. Matthew McManus is a 53-year-old man with disabilities. Under the Americans with Disabilities Act, specifically Title II, law enforcement officers are required to make reasonable modifications in their interactions with individuals who have disabilities. That's not optional. That's federal law. What I'm seeing here is an officer who gave this man zero time to process what was happening. You heard the confusion in his voice. I just was gonna go. He's trying to explain himself, and Skeens is already physically moving him. The legal question that frames everything we're about to see is this. What was the reasonable suspicion or probable cause that justified this intervention in the first place? Because under Terry v. Ohio, a police officer cannot detain someone without articulable facts suggesting criminal activity. Counting your money slowly at a self-checkout is not a crime. It's just not.
I was just getting my money out. I don't want to lose it. I'm calling 911. No,
Sit down, man.
I did do nothing
Not
wrong.
playing with you, man. Sit down.
I ain't hitting anyone. You're talking to me.
Alright, you got an ID on you, man?
Not giving you any idea.
If you don't identify yourself, you're under arrest, okay?
You're not police.
Yes, we are.
Yes,
We're
we are.
Albuquerque Police
No, you're
Department.
not. You're security.
So what's your name, man?
None of your business.
Alright, then you're under arrest. Go ahead, put your hands behind your back. You're refusing to identify yourself, correct?
Who you calling, man? You ain't even
He's
pressed
calling
call
911. That's what he said anyway. So yeah, just go ahead and put him in handcuffs, because he's refusing to identify himself.
yet. Okay, hold on.
I was just paying. I was just had
Hold
my
on, Mars.
stuff locked in my fanny pack.
No, just go ahead,
And
tell
the security guards came, and I didn't take more time than anyone else. The other ones before me.
So now you're going to be charged, okay, with concealing identity, resisting officers, okay?
No,
And you're going to be trespassed, so you can never come back here again, okay?
And there it is. You're under arrest for refusing to identify yourself. Let me stop right here, because that statement reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of the law. In New Mexico, the failure to identify statute requires that an officer have lawful grounds to detain you first. You cannot manufacture probable cause by demanding ID from someone engaged in lawful activity and then arresting them when they refuse. That's circular logic, and it doesn't survive constitutional scrutiny. What I just watched was an escalation without justification. They physically removed this man from the store. He's sitting on the ground calling 911 because he genuinely doesn't believe these are real police officers. And honestly, given the Albuquerque Police Department's documented history with excessive force, including the 2014 Department of Justice findings that APD had a culture of accepting excessive force, his confusion isn't unreasonable. Now they're adding charges: tampering with concealed identity, resisting officers. These are what we call cover charges in legal analysis. They exist to justify the arrest retroactively, rather than to address actual criminal conduct. The due process implications here are significant. Under the 14th Amendment, you have a right not to be deprived of liberty without proper legal justification. McManus was exercising his right to complete a transaction, nothing more.
Stand up.
No, that's not right. I was just paying my things. And I didn't know you were police officers.
Yes, we told you that already.
I didn't see your badge.
Okay, well, we told you, right?
We identified
Security
ourselves.
guards say they're police officers
We
all the
identified
time.
ourselves as Albuquerque Police. We
Let's go
had
ahead
a
and get
reason
him
to talk to you.
stood up and search.
The reason to talk to you was they didn't want you in there no more, okay? So we have the reason. We asked you your name. You didn't give us your name. That's
What was
concealing
the
identity.
reason?
They didn't want you there, and they have that right as the business not to want you there anymore. We're gonna help you stand up. We're gonna put you in that patrol unit over there, okay? Sound good?
No, it don't sound
Well, that's what's gonna happen.
good. 911, help me, please.
No one's on the phone, man.
I didn't see their badge. I didn't know they're police officers.
Well, everything's on camera, just so you know. You became very resistant in the store and out
No,
here.
I didn't.
We asked you your name. I'm done explaining to you. That's fine. You're under arrest.
You're under arrest, okay? That's not changing now.
For what?
Concealing identity, resisting officers, okay?
I didn't know you were police officers. How can
I told you.
conceal?
That's your own fault. You didn't listen, okay? I can't help you with that. You don't want to listen. But
I didn't believe you were police officers.
Stand up. You didn't believe us?
You
Doesn't
look
matter.
like security guards.
Listen to what he's saying. I didn't know you were a police officer. I didn't see your badge. This man is on his knees surrounded by 3 officers, and he's genuinely confused about who detained him. Here's what the footage doesn't tell you. Under established 4th Amendment doctrine from Terry v. Ohio, officers conducting a stop must make their authority clear. The reason matters. When someone cannot distinguish law enforcement from private security that's not a citizen, failing to comply, that's an officer failing to communicate lawful authority. And now they're telling him that's your own fault, you didn't listen. No. The burden of clarity rests with the state, not with the disabled man on the ground. This is precisely the kind of procedural failure that qualified immunity was never designed to protect. I should note, I'm not a practicing attorney, but based on published case law, qualified immunity shields officers who violate rights that weren't clearly established. The right to be free from arrest without probable cause, that's been clearly established since the founding. The right to know who is arresting you and why, fundamental. What strikes me here is the complete absence of de-escalation. Remember, this same department was found by the DOJ to have systemic failures in this exact area. We're watching that pattern repeat in real time.
Don't resist anymore. Stop.
Just walk, man.
No.
Just walk.
No. I didn't do nothing. I was just about to pay my money in the automated system. I was putting my money in and I didn't do nothing.
We told you what's going on. Stop.
I didn't
I'm
know
done
that.
with you.
You
Stop.
didn't explain it.
Separate your feet. We told you who we were.
I got security guards tell me they were police.
Well, then, sorry those security guards told you that, but they...
We are actual law
Yeah.
enforcement officers. What's your name? Tell me your name. You're gonna
Separate your
tell me anything, man?
Not till I get a lawyer.
Well, that sucks to suck, man.
No, I have the right to remain silent.
Not when it comes to your name.
No, that's
You do, but that's why now you're going to jail for concealing identity.
So Matthew, here's what you're under arrest for, okay? Concealing identity and resisting evading obstructing officers, okay?
Don't catch a felony charge by hitting me or anything. Step in.
Just make it easy. Don't tell me to.
All I was doing it was paying for my things.
Yeah, it was explained to you
And
many
you
times,
had to cut off one of my fanny packs, you know. You saw how hard it is to get my money out. And I was trying to get my money out, and I got it all out, and then you came, and I thought you were a security guard.
So that's it. That's the whole encounter. A man paying for a bicycle in cash at a self-checkout gets physically removed from a store and placed under arrest because he took too long. Let me bring this together for you, because what we just witnessed is a case study in how constitutional rights erode when officers prioritize authority over accountability. The legal takeaways here are significant. First, under the Fourth Amendment, an arrest requires probable cause, not suspicion, not inconvenience, not an officer's gut feeling that someone might have a warrant. Probable cause means articulable facts suggesting criminal activity. Counting money slowly is not a crime. Standing at a self-checkout is not a crime. And yet Matthew McManus was arrested. Second, the charges filed against him, concealing identity and resisting or obstructing officers, are what courts and legal scholars recognize as cover charges. These are charges designed to retroactively justify an arrest that had no independent legal basis. The Supreme Court in Atwater v. City of Lago Vista acknowledged that officers have broad arrest authority, but that authority still requires an underlying offense. When the offense is the refusal to comply with an unlawful detention, we're in constitutional quicksand. Third, and this is critical for anyone watching who might find themselves in a similar situation, the right to remain silent does not mean the right to refuse to identify yourself in every circumstance. However, and this is the key point, that right only triggers when you are lawfully detained. If the initial stop has no legal basis, then the identification demand has no legal basis. You cannot bootstrap an unlawful detention into a lawful arrest by demanding ID and then arresting someone for refusing. Now, here's what troubles me most about this case. Kenneth Skeens was fired. He was charged with false imprisonment, perjury, making a false report, and battery. That's the system working the way it should work. Internal accountability and criminal prosecution for officers who violate rights. But then, 2 trials, 2 hung juries, and all charges dropped in April 2025. I want to be clear, I'm not a practicing attorney, and I cannot speak to what happened in those jury rooms. But what I can tell you is that when an officer can be caught on body camera saying, "I'm going to bet this fellow has got a warrant or 2," before any investigation has occurred, that's not policing, that's profiling. And when the same officer says, "That sucks to suck, man," to a disabled person asserting their constitutional rights, that's not de-escalation, that's contempt. The Albuquerque Police Department has been under federal scrutiny since 2014, when the Department of Justice found a culture of acceptance of excessive force. We are now more than a decade past that finding, and yet here we are, watching footage that demonstrates the same patterns, the same failures, the same disregard for the constitutional protections that every person in this country is supposed to enjoy. Reform is not just about individual officers. It's about systems. It's about training. It's about accountability structures that make it impossible for an officer to approach a disabled man counting his money and decide in that moment that this person deserves to be arrested. The body camera footage exists because of reform efforts. The termination happened because internal affairs did its job. But when the criminal justice system cannot hold an officer accountable after all of that, we have to ask whether the reform went far enough. What I want you to take from this is not anger. I want you to take clarity. Know your rights. Understand that the Fourth Amendment protects you from unreasonable seizures. Understand that the ADA requires law enforcement to make reasonable modifications when interacting with people with disabilities. And understand that when those rights are violated, the law provides remedies, even when individual cases end without conviction. If you found this analysis valuable, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a breakdown like this. And if you want to support the work we do here, click the join button below to become a channel member. Your support makes this kind of deep legal analysis possible. Now, if you think this case was troubling, wait until you see what happens when an officer arrests a completely sober driver out of pure retaliation, and then watches his entire case collapse in court. That video is up next, and trust me, the ending is worth it.